And welcome back. The highest decision-making body of the civil rights organization AfriForum says it's committed to see the legal battle against national health insurance through till the end in South Africa. AfriForum's board of directors signed a resolution and will file a lawsuit against the government and undertake that this lawsuit will continue until all remedies have been exhausted. AfriForum is one of several role players who have announced a legal battle against NHI and intends to do so by means of a class action together with an interim application to suspend the application thereof. The bill was signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa on Wednesday. And joining us on the news to discuss this further is Louis Boshoff. He is the campaign officer at AfriForum. Louis, many thanks for coming on. We appreciate you for doing this with us. We're pressed for time, so let's get started very quickly. Can you explain why AfriForum has decided to file a lawsuit against the government over the signing of the NHI bill? And what specific concerns do you have about the bill?
So what is characteristic of the NHI bill is not only the fact that the South African government intends to offer health insurance to South Africans, but also that in the end it will in effect ban private health insurance, or at least ban private health insurance from covering the same health services that the state's NHI fund intends to cover. And we believe this is absolutely a move in the wrong direction, and it can possibly lead to economic devastation for South Africa because it requires huge tax increases, and it will drive healthcare professionals out of the country, frankly.
Right. Then what are your main concerns about the NHI bill? I know you just pointed to a few, right? But is it the proposed funding mechanism? Is it the potential impact on private healthcare providers? Or something else? Just help us list a number.
Yeah, so if we look at the past, say, 20 or 30 years of the South African healthcare system, the private sector has all the while been outperforming the public sector. And NHI is basically a move that moves more resources towards the government and more money towards the inefficient half of the South African healthcare sector. So in the end, it will only lead to less healthcare being available to South Africans.
You just talked about it, affecting South Africans with them having less access to it. Why do you believe it's clearly, do you think it's not in the best interest of the country then, and do you think it would affect generally the South African healthcare system?
Yes, so it's not just that it's they need a little bit of money or something like that. The current budget allocated to NHI is less than a hundredth of what is required to run the system in the end. And there's simply no way in which taxes could be increased to such a degree that there will be enough tax money gained by the government to run this system. So any attempt to that will lead to less consumer spending, less economic activity, less job creation also, which the government claims to be doing in South Africa. So there's no rocket science behind it. NHI requires huge tax increases, which will devastate South Africa's economy, and we need to prevent that because the healthcare system just is one part of the economy and cannot be separated from economic activity.
Right. Let's look at the NHI bill in its entirety, right? Many have, there have been talks saying that, the NHI bill is unconstitutional. Can you explain what specific provisions of the bill you believe are that they claim to be unconstitutional, and why is this the case?
So I'd like to point first to Section 27 of the South African Constitution, which requires the government to realize progressive access to healthcare for South Africans, meaning whatever policy is instituted by the government should lead to more people having access to healthcare. And we believe NHI will lead to the opposite and is as such unconstitutional, going in exactly the opposite direction of what the Constitution requires. But also we are concerned about the rights and freedoms of both patients and health workers, because healthcare workers will be required to treat patients free at point of charge, with a promise of being refunded by the government's NHI fund, which we believe cannot be run successfully. There won't be enough money to refund, yet healthcare workers will probably be required to deliver those services.
Right. And lastly, before I let you go, Louis, we understand that AfriForum is, filing a lawsuit. What do you intend to achieve with this lawsuit, and what do you hope the outcome will be at the end?
So we hope for the NHI Act to be repealed in its entirety, but if the outcome is only certain amendments, depending on what sections of the Act or are required to be amended, we might be satisfied with that outcome.
Louis, many thanks for coming on. We appreciate you for doing this with us.
Thank you.